All right, welcome back to my channel, and make sure you go to troubadourmag.com to see some of the other stuff that I do. A lot of poetry, a lot of literature, a lot of classic stuff, but I just did a guided reading of Benito Cereno by Herman Melville, which is, I think, very relevant to today and relevant to the kind of stuff that I'm doing on this channel recently. Now, I have gotten many comments to do one of Tupac's interviews. Now, I'm going to try this one. I just randomly pulled this up on YouTube. I just Googled Tupac interview. This is one of the shorter ones at the top, so I did it. I haven't listened to it. I don't know what he's going to say. This is probably where I'm going to turn off a lot of people. A lot of people are going to get mad at me. So I've been trying to learn a little bit because I view art as very different than politics, ethics, epistemology. I did study philosophy in college. Epistemology is the theory of knowledge. Now, I don't think he's going to talk about that, but what I think might happen, or the point I'm trying to make is artists tend to, not always, but often they are so reactionary. They observe and they feel, and they just kind of let go on, of their subconscious, and they kind of just, the term is cut their veins and bleed on paper type idea, right? And they just kind of let it go, and they're just very organic in that sense. And then when it comes to integrating their own ideas about the world, they tend to be abysmal, like absolutely out of this world, abysmal. And this is not, and they're just not good at it. And they should be artists, and they're great artists, and they have every right to have every idea. And it's not to say that they never have a good idea, but in my experience, a lot of artists have really dumb ideas. And, I'll say that a lot of actors today are a really good example of this, where they will have the dumbest, views on things, have no foundation, no concept. They've never read a history book or an economics book or anything. They're just getting people, there's kind of like in this factory of yes and bobblehead syndrome, where they're all, telling each other, it should be this way. Why don't we just do this? Or why don't we just, it's like, yeah, if we could, we would. It's not that easy, right? Like, you want us to solve all the problems with the snap of our fingers. It's like, get out of here. So anyway, I just wanted to preface it, so hopefully you guys don't hate me. Some of my own views might come out in this, but we're going to listen. I'm going to pause and comment when I can.
And when I say this world, I mean,
let me start over.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a...
That, by the way, is a very artistic thing to say, right? It's an art or an artist's perspective, right? Not an ideal world. Like, he's observing the world around him.
Gimme. Everybody back off. Everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme. Push. Step. Crush.
Now, I'll just say that part of this, again, is, he's extrapolating his observations to the entire world or all of America. But, is this true in Omaha? Is this true in Nevada? Is this true even in Denver or in where I went to college? Or is it true in Texas where I went to high school? Is it true in a lot of the cities? Or is it that he was from LA and he grew up at a certain place with a certain perspective? And I think that has a lot to do with it, where he thinks that that's where you have to be this gimme attitude. It's called in Buddhism, the hungry ghost, where you have this big fat body with a teeny little mouth, and you're trying to fill up your big fat belly all the time, but you have to constantly eat, and it's never going to fill you. You can never get enough in your teeny little mouth to fill your big belly. So it's this constant gimme. Yeah. I mean, there is a kind of that vibe in LA in particular, and that last time I visited, although I don't know how it's changed since the pandemic, it has been like that. But this is where I'm already disagreeing with him a little bit, because that's a choice you make. You don't have to live that way. You can make $65,000, $70,000 a year working a normal job and just work hard for that and enjoy a great life.
That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, I feel like Instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's down, bad whitey, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted and we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we're past that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for.
Yeah, so that, I mean, this is again a policy thing that you hear today. It's basically come up to reparations. I can see an argument for reparations, you know, some generations ago, for sure. You know, I always wonder what would have happened had Abraham Lincoln not been assassinated. I think we would have had such a better time as a union going forward into the future, but a lot of disastrous things happened after that. And we got a kind of continued racism heavily in the South that wasn't stomped out, and that, you know, went on for generation after generation. So I could definitely see, you know, even in the 60s, see a kind of reparations for literally holding back a generation. But when I think about, like, you know, and maybe even 96, right, when he's saying this, maybe I could see that. But I'll have to, you know, so many people that I grew up with who same situation as me, but they had black skin, and they're doing great. And so the question always is, where is the problem and with whom is it lying? So it's not, you know, with whom does it lay? Is it really just the color of your skin, or is it maybe where you're living? And when it comes to where you're living, if there are like inner city problems, the fact of the matter is that we have pumped in a lot of money into those areas. And when I say we, I don't mean me as a white person. I mean we, as in all of us, including people with black skin, everybody paying taxes in America, state, local, and state, local, and federal as well, have been pumping in a lot of money. And the fact of the matter is that I taught at a private school in California, and we spent less per child than they do in inner cities. And they spend a lot of money in inner cities on this. And so the question is, you know, same thing with welfare, you know, so this idea of like, you know, that he's kind of perpetrating is just kind of giving money, that we know that doesn't work. This isn't like we've tried this once. We've tried this for decades and it doesn't work. It's not a good idea. There's other things. And there are other people who are like immigrants who come and they're not given anything. And yet in one generation, they go from zero, like a Russian immigrant, you know, goes from zero to owning his own little gas station or his own little liquor store, you know, because he worked hard. He came with $0. He worked hard and he moved his way up. So it's this idea of like giving a handout is not, there's no track record of that actually working. I know it feels like the right thing to do, but it doesn't track with actual help.
You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know,
well, yeah, I mean, where he's saying that's definitely true. We shouldn't be lending money just for no reason to any. We shouldn't be. It's not lending money. If he's talking about giving it away to aid other countries, I agree that we shouldn't be giving money to other countries to help them at all. We shouldn't do that for the same reason I said earlier.
Everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something and they to be independent.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. That is like the opposite of independence. If I start giving you stuff, or if someone starts giving you stuff, that is a hindrance to self-reliance. To be self-reliant, you need to learn how to do it on your own, and you have to struggle through it to get there. If someone's giving it to you, you're never going to have to get to that point where you've actually accomplished it, which is what it takes to be self-reliant, is you have to accomplish it on your own. I mean, I think by definition.
No independent person just grew up and was born independent.
Yeah, they were. No, that's nonsense. Yes, they've been, it's not that they weren't born independent, but how many people, again, have come here with nothing, you know, as 14-year-old started from scratch and built a business, even a small business. A lot of people.
You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity
yes.
and struggle, and then you became independent. And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do
agree
that?
with that?
I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then he need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it needs to be real.
Yeah, but that's where he loses me, is like, why, like, you don't know why the white kid got that. Did he get that because he was, so like, let me put it this way. In 2 generations, let's say we removed whatever hindrances and black people are becoming successful. Like, by the way, Ethiopians who have black skin are coming to America and they are achieving great success. They're one of the top achievers in our country next to Asian Americans and Jewish Americans. So there are these cultures that are these individuals that come here from other cultures, and they, work hard and they make money, and they're not given money from the old world, or what they come here with nothing. They work hard and they make it. And then you want to, just because they have white skin, you want, they worked hard or their parents worked hard so that their kids can have a little bit of something. And you want to take a little bit of that and give it to other people who haven't done the hard work yet. And that's the whole point. Is the question is, how can we get out of the way? And I think we are in the way of, black people in this country working hard to get what they want. And I think there's a lot of hindrances, and those hindrances are the things I was just saying about giving them lots of money. Because it's not true that we're not giving them. Even in 96 we were. I mean, this isn't true. So again, I know I'm losing a lot of you because I'm attacking Tupac. But it had to be done.
And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish. When God punishes you. Because I feel like, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for $36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion, and then there's people starving.
Yeah, I mean, this is an argument you always hear. Why do you have, millionaires and billionaires, and do you have people who are starving? Well, one, I do think that many millionaires and billionaires do give to charity, and those people are still starving. So the question isn't always, why are they starving? It's, or the question is, what are they doing that is allowing them to continue to starve despite getting handouts? So is there something going on with individuals who are homeless, other than the money, right? So if you give a homeless person, $10,000, are they going to not be homeless and they're going to be okay all of a sudden? How much money does it take to, help a person who's homeless despite help, despite getting help? And so would it cost, how much would it cost for them to get on their feet and actually make the decision themselves to pull themselves out of that situation, to be self-reliant and independent? How much money would it take? Right. And, in America, we do not have a big poverty problem, despite what you might have heard. Again, if you look at what poverty means on a worldwide or historical standpoint, the average person, quote unquote, in poverty has a TV, a car, and a roof over their head. So that's not really poverty, but that's American poverty. And they eat regularly. It's not like they're not eating. So, because there is so much food. So, I mean, this is a big issue to, tackle, but it's silly to think that, if I gave this homeless person $1 million, do you think that they're going to be okay? I mean, what evidence do you have that giving a homeless person $25,000, $50,000 a year is going to just make them happy, successful, hardworking individuals? I mean, there's no evidence that happens. The more you give, it would seem that this actually exacerbates based on the evidence of the past 5 decades and more, and really the history of, giving handouts, that's what always happens. And this is, part of the problem of, but we have this is, again, Tupac is a celebrity. this is his celebrity status talking. He's trying to talk to people who are his fans and tell them I'm on your side. I mean, this is, you know, I think celebrity is a weird cocoon, and even someone like Tupac falls into it.
There's no way. There's no...
Because he's rich, by the way. So why doesn't he give up all his money?
Way.
Maybe he did. I don't, you know, let me know. Did he do that?
These people should own planes, and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks.
So if Michael Jordan gave up his plane for some homeless person, would that homeless person be a hardworking contributor to society and do good with his life and enjoy it? Or would he crash the fucking plane? Like, he's going to crash the plane. So he doesn't deserve to have the plane. Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan or whatever Jackson, they deserve, whatever Michael, they deserve to have the plane because the value that he's putting forth into society is contributing sufficient where people are willing to buy tickets, buy basketballs, buy his Nike shoe, watch him play because they're so blown away. And as a celebrity, he made just like somebody who just sings into a microphone that other people made. That person makes millions of dollars as well because people love what he created, the art that he created. They buy that product, and then he is able to have a jet. I mean, that's how it works. So if you say that I'm just going to give that money instead to a homeless person, first off, that's your choice. Give your money to a homeless person. There's nothing stopping. Well, I mean, you know, when he's dead, but you know, I see rich people saying this all the time. Rich celebrities it's like, give all your money to homeless people and watch what happens. Watch exactly what happens when you give it to them. Nothing good will happen. I promise you, this experiment has been run over and over again.
Drawers, pants.
We say to people that say, well, they earned it. Now you go out and you're earning it.
If they earned it, then I think that's good, and I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give him some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket.
So he's about to have that money. This is 92. What did he die in? 95, 96? So I'm curious how much money he makes at this point. He seems to be doing all right.
I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or $1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But, I mean, you got.
Okay, so this is what maddens me. He just proved my point. So if I gave him $100, it doesn't matter if he went and drank it. I got it, so I have to give it to him, even if he's going to drink it. Why? Why does that make any sense? What if he's going to take that money and kill someone with it? Does that make sense? So I have $100. I'm going to give it to him. He's going to buy a knife and stab someone in the throat. That's the solution? Like, that's a stupid ass solution. I'm sorry, Tupac. That's a stupid solution to just like say, because I have it, I have to give it. But he, just like all of us, and this resonates with all of us, it's ingrained in our souls and our DNA that we have to, that altruism, that is otherism, that we have to give to other people because we have it. And because our lives, and really this comes from a religious view, and this isn't Tupac the artist, this is Tupac raised a Christian in a mostly Christian nation, you know, an Abrahamic religion, this idea that of all religions that, you know, you are your brother's keeper, and it doesn't matter how much you worked for it, you have to give it up. 1 second. Okay, here we go.
You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't mean he was bad, or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got.
Okay, so that's a good point. So just because the homeless person is homeless doesn't mean he is evil. Okay, that's true. It doesn't mean that he did bad things to get there. It doesn't mean that he was, you know, it could have been he just got hard on his luck. And I really think the movie The Pursuit of Happiness is a great example of that, though. And this is the kind of country that I think America still is to this day. Although I think we're actually making it harder for poor people, the ambitious poor. I think we're making it very difficult for them to succeed. And part of this, but it has nothing to do with giving them money. Because in this country, throughout all of its history, until, we start getting really in the way of this, but throughout all of our history, a person of good character will always win out. Well, unless a bad, accident happened. Barring accidents, a person of good character, like in The Pursuit of Happiness, they will always win out. Maybe they won't be billionaires and millionaires, but if you you study, you read, you learn to read, you learn to write, you don't even need to have a higher education. You just get a basic, learning to think education. You find a trade or you find something that you can make money with. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, just something. And you show up on time, you do hard work, you do it year after year, you're going to get raises, you learn, you improve, you become a better person, and you will make money. That's all there is to it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to be said about it. And now maybe that person who's homeless is there, like the guy, and I'm forgetting his name, in Pursuit of Happiness. That's possible, but then he will come out of it, and maybe he will ask you for a couple dollars, and I think that's fine then in certain situations to help that person out. But it is his character that matters, and the idea of just willy-nilly handing over money to anybody on the street, you can't tell their character, because you can't tell that they're good or bad. So giving them money nakedly like that is actually dangerous until they can prove that they can do something with their lives. And that is an important thing to look for.
And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million. And this person has nothing, and you can sleep. You can still go to the movies and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are.
Well, but what if they're actually doing the work to help poor people come out of poverty? I mean, if you look at, a lot of people hate on Bill Gates right now, but if you look at a lot of the projects that he's putting forth around the world, he's not only helping people all over the world lift out of poverty, but he's, but he's doing that, but he's doing things to end diseases, for instance. I mean, wouldn't that be something that helps, people in poverty around the world, right? Like that makes the most sense to do something like that. If you can eliminate, all diseases or a certain type of disease that's killing millions of a certain person, that will help them, live better and longer. And that's a humanitarian thing. And that costs resources and abilities. And you can't just throw money. You can't just throw, people have this view of money. Like if you just throw money at something, that it solves all problems. It won't, because one, we all know that if Bill Gates just gave away $50 billion to, the people, and it's like, shit, then that money is going to go to nothing. You're going to have, I'm sorry, but Dave Chappelle's skit on this, where they got reparations, is exactly right. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go see that skit. It's going to be, you're going to get a big spike in a whole bunch of certain types of products, and then it's going to be a boom because people don't know what to do with it, because character counts. And, you have to, so the goal is you have to engender character and good, hardworking character. And how you do that is challenging, but it's, it's something that we all need to work on together.
You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never going to be rich, and I'm never, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves. And I think there's a way to pay these people.
It's easy to say stuff like that. Everybody deserves, it's just a way of being popular. You guys are going to hate me after this.
I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary, and it takes to do something out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if we just said, okay, I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or, look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and there's somebody with no room? Yeah,
but see, so this This is going to go on forever. Okay, it's almost over. But this reveals a really bad logic that is prevalent in our culture, and that is the zero-sum ideology or the zero-sum view of the world. So the view basically goes, you know, in his terminology, the person with 52 rooms is at the expense of the person with 0 rooms, like the homeless person, or the person with just 1 room. So, you know, when the person with 1 room could have 10 rooms if it wasn't for the person who had 52 rooms, and it's getting in the way, you know, or the house that has 52 rooms, or there's some, you know, take from the people who don't have for the people who do have. And that is a completely erroneous view. That is absolutely bizarre. I mean, you know, this view still exists, but it's so insane because it doesn't bear out with just a basic looking at the facts. So one thing to keep in mind is that in a free economy, and, you know, there are problems with our mixed economy for sure. And I'm not going to defend our mixed economy, but in a free economy, when someone earns something, when someone makes something, when someone builds something, they are trading with individuals who are voluntarily trading with them. And they're not like going to your house, taking the wood off of your doors and bringing, you know, building their doors for their 52 houses. They're going out and they're making, you know, doors from people who buy, you know, who create wood and doors, and they're buying, and that person who builds doors, and there are companies that all they do is make doors, and that company now has more money. And so they can actually hire somebody who can help them make more doors. That person who they can hire, by the way, is someone who might have 1 door. And now they're going to be able to have 2 doors because they're able to. So the person like the Bill Gates and these other people, they're producers. The reason they got that big house is not because they took from people, but because they created something that everybody values. So everybody today has an iPhone in their pocket, right? That is a creation of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs created billions of dollars worth, trillions of dollars worth of value to all of our lives, even to the lives of people who are living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Because of that, he was able to live in a bigger house than you are probably able to live in. And he probably couldn't even afford an even bigger one. He was able to buy a big yacht, if he, you know, and he was looking at buying a plane too before he died, I think. And there's a whole bunch of things he wanted to do, but he unfortunately died earlier. You know, Jeff Bezos is a great example. Like, this is a guy who is the richest person on the planet. We all benefit because we all can order almost anything and it's delivered to us within a day or 2. And so including food, he's revolutionizing, you know, he's cutting cost so we can get cheaper stuff faster, which frees up the market to do other things with that money. And then he is spending his money on, you know, probably he has these amazing houses, but he's also spending his money on things like going to space, which puts jobs into, you know, people, gives people jobs. But the point is that there's not a zero sum. It's not at your expense. So if someone like Steve Jobs didn't exist, that what he created with the tech boom, all that would mean is that there would be no people earning money in the world like that. That's it. It wouldn't. So you would actually be making less today if it wasn't for the efficiencies of the tech world, which is engineered heavily by Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, who are the pinnacle of that, and they make the most money because of it. But it's not, again, taking away from you. If they didn't do it, if they didn't create that, then you would actually be worse off today. You would make less money and you would have less goods that you could buy, less things that you could do, less access to the world than you do today.
Just don't make sense to me.
I know.
It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me.
What? Why is this happening? Okay. So that was long. That was my first time doing for an interview. I'm sure I lost like 90% of you, but thank you if you stayed. Yeah, so there we go.